welcome to an update. We wanted to do an update. Parliament is scheduled to start very, very soon. They will be starting very, very soon. And we wanted to talk about the National Assembly. For those of us who follow us, you will know that we report a lot about what is happening in Parliament. And today is going to be another update which we want to bring to you, the Gambians, share widely. We want to talk about a very huge number of things. Once again, for those of you who might just be tuning in, I'm Yusuf Taylor, the editor for Ask Can We Media, Ask Can We Online Media. That's me. I'm the editor for Ask Can We Media. And today we have so much to talk to you about. So much to talk to you about. We want to talk about a lot of things. So what do we want to talk about? Well, it's just so much, but we're going to try to squeeze it all in within a very short period. So what do we really want to talk to you about? I mean, we've got a lot to talk to you about. The budget implementation report, which is coming on the first day, on 16 June. Cost of living, Parliament has done a tour to local producers. What are they coming out with that? That's also something very important. And then the big topics. State of the Nation address, originally scheduled for the first session, but that did not happen. It did not take place. We'll talk about that. Then on the 26th, these are the key dates. Parliamentary reports on the $30 million US fuel scandal. So Parliament is investigating that. They will table that report on there. And of course, state-owned enterprises, their finances will also be interrogated and put on the table on the same 26th of June, a very busy day. Then on 30th of June is the continuation of the consideration stage of the elections bill. The elections bill, many of you, especially those in the diaspora, and you all know we are coming to presidential elections next year. Everybody is looking at this elections bill. But not more important, even more important, if I can say, is the second reading of the draft constitution. The second reading of the draft constitution, which was rescheduled from the first ordinary session. That will also take place on the 7th of July, 2025. This is also probably the most important point for most of us who are interested in the Constitution. So we're going to jump right into it. We have just these topics which we want to talk to you about, and we've written our script which we want to discuss in this very important update. There is a lot to talk about, in my view. And why is there a lot to talk about? Because my view has been that the president is aiming to use the State of the Nation address to rally support for the draft constitution. Now, will that happen? Will they have enough support for this? This we will have to watch and see. But we start with the budget implementation report. The finance minister, Honorable C.D. Keita, has repeatedly failed to appear before Parliament to present updates on budget implementation, missing not only the first ordinary session of 2025, but also updates during the second and third sessions of last year, parliamentary sessions. Now, our investigation has revealed that Minister Keita was excused from appearing after promising to reschedule, only to travel abroad without offering an explanation or even an apology. In the first ordinary session, the Minister of Finance was supposed to come and table the implementation of the budget, but he failed to do this. When we made inquiries, we were told that he would come. Another date was given to them, but he failed to come to that same second date, and he did not provide an apology. When we made inquiries, this was what we were told. To date, the finance minister has not provided a single update to Parliament on how the 2025 budget is being implemented. This is alarming, given that the National Assembly has no visibility into how the 2024 budget was executed, let alone this year. We are saying that the finance minister, up until now, had he come in the first ordinary session, he would have told Gambians, parliamentarians, and Gambians by extension, how was the whole 2024 budget executed? Where are they overspending? So our legislators seem to pass the budget and then take a hands-off approach, towards having no quarterly oversight, no demand for justification on overspending or underfunding in critical areas. Parliament approves the budget, and then what happens? Every 3 months, they should be scrutinizing. You are overspending here. Oh, we approved you to spend this amount on health. How come this is not being spent on health? Because we know if you don't spend this on health, what is going to happen? Hospitals will suffer. If you don't spend this on agriculture, what is going to happen? Agriculture will suffer. Investment will suffer. Then, oh, we said that you shouldn't spend so much. How come you are overspending on, for example, Office of the President? Bring that money down so that you can put it onto more productive areas like what we have put in the budget, for example, tourism, agriculture. This scrutiny is not taking place. And our parliamentarians are just watching. I've called their attention and I've highlighted it to them. Numerous attempts, they have continuously failed, and we will be highlighting this. Remember, the same finance minister failed to submit the 2025 budget on time last year, and he was excused with nothing more than an apology. Now, 5 civil society advocates are taking the finance minister and parliament. They are taking them to court for violating constitutional requirements. We'll be watching the legal proceedings closely. I wasn't in town in April when I heard that the first hearings was taking place on this court, but we will be following it. Where is that going? We are the ones, we blew the whistle, and we will follow this to the end. How will the finance minister? My personal opinion now, and I'll tell you guys my personal opinion. If a finance minister cannot submit a budget on time or a report on its implementation, he is failing at 2 of his most fundamental duties. You cannot tell us, you cannot submit the budget on time. That's point 1. Secondly, you cannot tell us on a quarterly basis how you are spending our monies. Then what is the point of having you as a finance minister? If I am going to tell my honest opinion, he should be fired. He should be sacked. Sacked for that. That's my honest opinion. You cannot tell Gambians what is the budget. You cannot submit the budget on time. 1. You cannot on every 3 months tell us how you are spending the budget. That's a failure. That's a disaster. Let alone loans and all these other gymnastics that they are doing on when it comes to finance and economy. This finance and economy is joking matter. It's a very serious matter. This is where loans are taken. This is where serious decisions are made. You cannot even table the budget on time. You cannot even table the implementation. How are you spending our monies? We don't know. That's what I'm complaining about. We don't know. Assalamu alaikum, Gaipa. Greetings. Assalamu alaikum, Gaipa. Jerejef. Hope to see you on the road these days. Manglan you. Safe out there on the road. Stay blessed. So the next point, we have 6 topic points which I want to go through, and I have created my script. Normally when I come, I have a script. I've typed up most of what I want to say. These things you might see, a lot of it, I also like to be spontaneous. Don't get me wrong. You can see the way I sometimes speak. Some of it is from my head, but let me tell you something. I prepare. I don't just come here and start ranting. No way. No way. We don't do that. We come here, we prepare, we investigate. And let me tell you something. I have been making inquiries onto this. I have interviewed National Assembly members. I have spoke to the clerk's office. I have been engaging the government institutions. I've engaged in civil society. And I have been raising the alarm on this thing. Just like how I raised the alarm that the finance minister failed to submit the budget on time. These things are very serious matters. In no ordinary country will these things happen and nothing, heads don't roll, no consequences. Seems like I'm the only person enraged about these things. But that's the beginning of the corruption. You are spending the money, you are not telling us how the money is being spent. That is the beginning of where the corruption is. Okay? Now we move on to the second point, which is cost of living. Parliament had a tour to local producers, and they have a report which they are going to bring. Now, this is one to watch. Why? The Trade Ministry is expected to respond to a parliamentary report on the cost of living tour conducted with local producers across the country. This is expected to take place on 17 June. Now, this is very, very serious because we are hoping that it will tell us how is Gambia progressing in boosting local production of food and essential goods. How are we pushing with that? How are we empowering? What's being done to support and empower local producers? Now, these are crucial questions, and we'll be making an effort to obtain the report because there's a report. We'll try to obtain the report so that we can track what is the minister saying. We are going to make a concerted effort to get this report, read through it, and listen. What is the minister saying? Because this is about how can we make sure, take care of the local producers. Local producers. Now, Gambia, we have a story. One of my journalists has written about how we are so dependent on Senegal now, importing from next door anyhow. But you cannot put quotas or you cannot put preventive taxes that will stop people from coming in when your own local produce is, you cannot deal with the demand. It's just like in the United States. They are putting tariffs on goods which the Americans will end up paying for. Like us, we are putting tariffs on cement, and we cannot satisfy the local demand for cement. So what ends up happening? That tariff, you, the Gambian people, end up paying for it. Because if jar oil or jar cement is not able to satisfy the demand, you have to get cement from somewhere. And if you are putting a tariff, and that tariff is coming, you are now suffering the Gambians. You are suffering us. We are in sufferation. That's why the best thing is to empower local producers, cement factories like Jar Cement, and not just Jar Cement, many others. Yeah? And some say we don't have cement factories. What we have is repackaging because of we don't have the raw materials in this country. That's what experts, some of them are saying. How can we empower the local producers until when we don't depend on external bringing in? When we see that, our local producers have enough capacity to meet the demand, you can put prohibitive taxes, tariffs here and there. That's fine to protect your local business. That's when you can do that. Not like in the situation which we are in. Jar oil is being given too much of an advantage, and I will say it on this medium. We are not that kind of platform. We are going to say the facts. Jar oil is not able to satisfy the demand. That's why there are shortages. If we had local producers that can satisfy the demand, fine. Put tariffs, prohibitive tariffs, protect the local businesses, let them meet the demand. But no, not in Gambia State. We're going to move on to the third topic. We have 6 topics here. Third topic, we are moving on to the third topic. The State of the Nation Address. This one will come on the 19th of June, 2025. President Barrow was initially scheduled to deliver his address during the first ordinary session, but it was mysteriously postponed with no explanation. According to National Assembly sources, no official reason was provided. We made inquiries, we sent questions, we have engaged in Parliament, and this is what we are being told, that no excuse, no explanation has been given. Now, it has been rescheduled according to the agenda, which we have seen, for 19 June. And it's evident that the President, from what we are seeing, aims to use this to rally support for the draft constitution. Interestingly, the address was deferred at the same time the draft constitution second reading was delayed. The draft constitution, if you can remember, there were excuses, explanations given for why it was removed or out of the agenda. Now, when that happened, the President did not deliver the State of the Nation address, And now he's coming to deliver the State of the Nation address. The draft constitution has come back. That's telling me very, very clear. We'll be closely monitoring whether the president's speech moves the needle on securing support for this long-awaited constitutional overhaul. This, we need to watch what is going to happen. Will the president have the nous, the political capital to sway parliamentarians to their side? And we are going to go into the numbers. We will be going into the numbers in our last point. Number 4, we'll move on to point 4. Parliamentary reports. There are going to be 2 very important reports on June 26, 2025. That missing $30 million US fuel scandal. The investigation is supposed to come on that 26th. The SOE finances. How has that been also, how are the SOEs dealing with finances? We need going to discuss, see that on the 26th. Now, this, I believe, could be explosive. Parliament is set to present its findings on the missing $30 million US worth of fuel under GAM Petroleum, a scandal that rocked the country. This, if you can remember, it went to court and was mysteriously thrown out due to lack of evidence. There have been serious allegations of interference and bribery. Honorable Seni Jawara's motion noted that individuals were allegedly receiving $600,000 in monthly bribes from petroleum dealers, with transactions made through EcoBank and Access Bank. This is what Honorable Seni Jawara was saying. Now, Honorable Seni Jawara, if many of you will remember, he is part of the majority. He is from the NRP. He's in the majority caucus, right? But he brought this up, which many of us salute him. How has that parliamentary inquiry, or who is in that committee? We will delve into that when it comes close to, when we grab the report. We will delve into it. Who is leading it? Is it an NRP or an NPP or a majority person, or is it somebody from the minority? How has their report come out? Is this looking strong? Are they bringing recommendations? So that will be the first explosion on 26th. There's supposed to be another explosion on 26th. On the agenda is the financial report on the state-owned enterprises, SOEs as we are called, entities like NAWEC and GAMTEL. How have they racked up? We know that these entities, NAWEC and GAMTEL, they continue to rack up significant debts and are performing poorly. Is privatization the way forward? We've seen Gambia Ports Authority, how they are being turned around since this Turkish company has come in. And we are saying, is this going to be the trend? What's the real financial health of our SOEs, state-owned enterprises? These are supposed to be institutions that are supposed to be bringing profit, dividend, providing service. But instead, all we see is that they are draining public funds. Will they continue in this privatization strategy? We will see, we watch and see what is government's plans on these SOEs. What are the financial reports telling us? How badly are these SOEs performing? GAMTEL, GAMCEL. We know that even paying some of their staff is a problem because they are reaching out to us. They are complaining. This Tobaski, did they get their funds? These are all things that people are looking at. The last 2 things, which are the most important things, I might add. Elections bill will be having its continuation of consideration on the 30th of June. The all-important elections bill. Parliament continues debating the elections bill. Now, this is intended to replace the outdated Elections Act. They are considering, it's on the consideration stage, where they go through the bill clause by clause. With over 157 clauses, Parliament is stuck around clause 30, around somewhere there. The pace is painfully slow. This is what I'm seeing. Yeah. Now, at this rate, it's doubtful, in my opinion, the bill will be enacted in time for the 2026 elections. I doubt it. Controversially, The bill proposes removing voting rights for the diaspora. This is what the parliamentarians have made a move to remove the diaspora voting rights. Now, this move has angered civil society and Gambians abroad. There's also speculation that the bill may only take effect after the next presidential election. Parliamentarians have every power to say that this bill will only come into effect after the next election cycle or whenever they decide for it to happen. All eyes will be on Parliament. This one is far from over. Let's keep watching. And then my last point here, the all-important, the big one, the second reading of the draft constitution that will take place, is scheduled to take place on 7 July 2025. Now, these are all agenda, and these agenda are flexible. So the dates I'm giving you, Parliament can come up with revised agenda, and I've seen that happen, or they may change. Things do happen. Like I've said, minister may not come, postpone, etc., etc. For me, the president, State of the Nation address, not even giving a reason, no public apology. It shows you that ministers, the president, the executive don't have any regard whatsoever for National Assembly. They can just have meetings with them, and these people can decide not to come. Sorry, I'm getting some phone calls, but let's just cancel that. And then we'll take up those phone calls soon after when we finish. Let me just conclude. But to highlight that Parliament does not, the executive, the president, schedule a State of the Nation address, doesn't come, no apology, nothing. Minister for Finance schedules to come and tell us how our expenditures are being done. They fail to come. They give them another time, date in the same first ordinary session. He doesn't come, nothing. For me, it shows you they don't have no regard. The executive has no regard for Parliament. The second reading of the draft constitution, which I was finalizing, concluding on, the big one. As I've said, this is the big one. The second reading of the draft constitution will take place on 7 July. Almost a month after the State of the Nation address. While in 2020, the second reading lasted 2 days. This time, only 1 day has been allocated, and I don't know why. It means either it's going to be not much time given to parliamentarians to debate, but we'll see. But here's the political mathematics that we've been doing. To pass the Constitution, the second reading, they need at least 3/4 of the Assembly, which is 42 members. This is not any ordinary bill. For most ordinary bills, which don't include entrenched clauses, if you go to section 226 in the 1997 Constitution, you will see what I'm talking about. For most motions, bills, most things which don't include entrenched clauses, it's by show of hand 50% more, 50% plus goes, right? For entrenched clauses like this, which includes the draft constitution, they need 3/4, which is 75%. Okay? Now, this is what our mathematics is telling us. The majority caucus controls 26 votes. NPP, 18 NPP members, 4 nominated, right? And NRP members, 4 NRP members. Okay? So now, if you do the mathematics and see. When you do the mathematics, I have my phone here, we're calculating. When you do the mathematics, you have 18 plus 4, 18 plus 4 gives you what? 22 plus 4 nominated members. There are 5 nominated members, but the speaker cannot vote. So that gives you 26 members. These are the members that are in the majority caucus that they can bank on. Okay? Now, the minority, you can say there are 15 UDP members, right? And 2 APRC. Because what we know is that the APRC members don't want the 1997 Constitution, which came under their tenure, to be removed. Okay? That's why we bunch them together. So that's what? 17. That leaves 14 potential swing votes 14 potential swing votes, 12 independents and 2 PDIS members. To reach the 42, the majority needs full support from these swing votes. They need all of them. They need the 14 potential, which includes the 12 independent and the 2 PDIS, and they need at least 2 defectors from the minority. Now, that makes it a very tight squeeze. That makes it a very tight squeeze, I'm telling you. This is my analysis. You can go and you can check it. We have the numbers. We've done the political mathematics, and we will regurgitate it so you can understand. You need 42 members to pass the second reading of the Constitution. The majority caucus controls 26 votes. 18 NPP, 4 nominated, 4 NRP. The minority has 17 votes, 15 UDP and 2 APRC. Okay? If I am wrong here, it will only be 1 or 2 because I know this. I've calculated this numerous times. Now, there are another 14 swing voters who are in the middle. You have 12 independents and 2 PDIS members. You don't know where those might go. But that 14 is not enough. Why? Because they need, as I said, 42 members, which means that they need 16 in total. That is the majority, for them to get the 42 members to be able to, vote for this in favor of the draft constitution. So that's all we have for you today. There's currently little enthusiasm, in my view, among lawmakers to pass this draft, unless something drastic happens, perhaps via the president's address. We will never see, we will never know. Let's see what happens. But this is all what I have for you today. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Please do share this very comprehensive preview of the second ordinary session. Watch this to know what to expect, to have a feel of some of the big points that we need to keep a laser focused attention on. Once again, I'm your host, Yusef Taylor, editor for Askanwe Media, bringing you this update. Thank you very much. Stay blessed.